Okay, so just to acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the land, the Boonwurrung and Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nation, whose land I live on, and I pay my respects to any First Nations people present here tonight and to their elders past, present and emerging. So, okay, so my story. As far back as I can remember, I've been enticed by wilderness of a primal urge for the undiscovered hidden spaces. These spaces may take the form of an abandoned house and garden, or the empty plot of land, or the kink in the road that creates a kink in the footpath, that creates an odd-shaped space on someone's land and home, and not knowing what to do with it, they let it run a little wild for the plants, the insects, and who knows what. When I was little, the places I loved were the enclosed, narrow spaces found in every home, the one between the house and the neighbour's fence, with tall grasses up to my waist and spiders, blue-tongue lizards, and at one time, a wild rabbit. And another space under the overgrown tea trees out the back, dry and cosy, where I could play hide and seek, peeking out at the garden, or I'd curl up with a storybook and read. But as I grew older, my favourite hidden spaces were the laneways. Some were closed off at the ends, others led to different streets, or ran alongside train tracks, or became watercourses between the houses. Lanes allowed for rear access to the properties. They were created from volcanic bluestone dug from quarries at Clifton Hill, Brunswick or Coburg, and in the early days before proper plumbing, they were the domain of the night cart man, who with horse and cart performed the essential public service of the weekly collection of human waste from the back of outside toilets. As a teenager, I moved into share houses with friends while we were all still students. And being mostly poor, we're always on the lookout for cheap ways to have fun. So we explored the local streets and lanes across Malvern and Prahran by foot and by bike. And during those long, hot summers, we'd go laning. And we took advantage of the ripe fruits from trees that grew from the backyards and gardens. The fruit would fall onto the bluestones, and in the heat, the aroma of fermenting plums, figs, apricots, and apples would beckon to us. We'd place the largest bike against the fence and then help a friend climb up to balance on the saddle. Then we'd hold their legs for safety while they picked the fruit. One friend knew a lot about heritage apples, the kinds you can't buy at the shops, and would identify them on the trees, and she would teach us the names. For me, just getting my mouth to say Cox's orange pippin, arcane, gravenstein, and bramleys was seductive and exotic. There were fruits we'd never tasted before, like the egg-shaped feijoas with the lime green skin, and guavas with their citrus flavour and pear-like a granular feel in the mouth. When I went alone to the lanes, I'd stand still, and for a brief moment, I'd forget the outside world. At first, I'd hear nothing, but then I'd feel my heart beating in my chest, the pulse of my blood in my throat or hands, the wind as it rustled the trees, the creak of the fence, and birdsong, and other sounds of kids playing in their gardens or the distant bells from train crossings. Laning kindled my lifelong love for foraging and recycling, and best of all, the thrill in discovering hidden spaces. Thanks.
Thank you, Di. and that was beautiful. And I love the atmosphere you've created with the light in the background. I hope that was deliberate, but if it wasn't, it worked magnificently.
My lunar lamp. It's my 60th lunar lamp.
Thank you very much. Thank you.